How's it going, strummers? In this lecture, we'll be talking about one of the most common strumming patterns out there, if not the most common strumming pattern that I found. This is the 16th note easy listening groove, and that sounds something like this. So, this is a really common strum pattern that I end up working on with my students. And what I found that helps them get it really fast is to draw something just like this, um, where the purple is the motion of the arm, the rule of strumming, the alternation. Um, down, up, 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 down, up. Oh, just over and over. And the orange here is the actual hits that you would need to hit. So I literally draw it on a paper. And basically, I get them to slowly, uh, you know, read it, really. So here's what my students sound like on that pattern. So down, up, down, up, and then down, 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 and then start over immediately. Down, 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 and then start over. So I make them play the rhythm like that while reading it, just over and over and over. It's giving them an intellectual understanding of, exactly every motion required to make the rhythm. And they need that. But I find that that is only one approach to get into this. It almost never goes the complete way of like actually giving the student the rhythm. And so the next step is to try to just tap the rhythm, kind of like you would hum a melody, you know, maybe slower. And so once again, strumming is drumming. That name really helps us. We want to hear in our heads these rhythms, and we just need to stroke it properly so that it feels right and is built from a place of good technique. But at the end of the day, it should just be rhythms like sort of that you hear in your head melodically. Ba 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 ba. Instinctual. So that's the way into this. You have to be aware of every single hit. We call them semiquavers or 16th notes. If you might have already figured this out, but there are 16 total semiquavers or downs and ups, like 8 downs, whether or not you hit the strings or not, and so like 8 down spaces in time and 8 up spaces in time for a total of 16. And they alternate, obviously, because you're strumming. Then we can expand our knowledge of what's going on, and we can actually properly count 16th notes by saying 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. And so that brings up something really weird that now ands are also downstrokes. Isn't that weird? Okay, so whenever you strum 16th note strumming patterns, the numbers and the ands are downs now in our counting, in our mental concept of strumming. So 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and that might be a really good exercise there. So that's what probably the next step is getting a mental concept of how to properly count 16th notes. So strum down and count 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and just keep it going. And then in between, you can put the ups back in, and we say E and So 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 and just on and on. You could get faster. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and try to get faster. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and I'm kind of just rushing past here what probably like hours of your life is going to look like if you're a beginner. And then back to the easy listening 16th note groove, this groove. So now we would say, okay, we have, if I was to count the rhythm of this, it would be 1 and 2 and 3 E and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 E and 4 and so that is what's going on with 16th notes. Before we end this lecture, we need to fine tune our our groove here. So for my students, on day one, I'm happy with them sounding something like. But even when that's faster, that's a certain sound. It's not like wrong. It's just a sound. But we can fine tune this sound, and you can listen to Collide and other songs in that 16th note playlist that kind of sound like this. But this is kind of the sound we're going for, where we choose certain strings to strum on, and even certain hits to accent, something like this. Versus kind of everything being equal there. So what exactly do we need to do to add finesse to this rhythm? In the example song Collide, the first hit that you hear is just a lonely bass note, the low E string. So you could carry that all the way through, or you can start adding in other lower strings like the E, A, and D strings. But the bottom line is that the first two downstrokes should be soft and on some lower strings like the E, A, and D, the bass strings, or just even one string. And then that brings us to beat 2. The third downstroke should be an accented all strings downstroke. All right. And you don't have to overdo it because your first two strums were so soft that just strumming all the strings is going to give the effect of an accent. All right. And then we get to the interesting part. So what is that? One and two and a three E and. So this and a three E and down up down up down. So what I'm doing is I'm making sure to play all those downs pretty soft on the bass strings, something like that. The bassier strings, and then my upstrokes are on the three high strings, G, B, and E. And we do want those to be accented or brought out. We want to hear do do pa do ta ta do pa, do do. So we want those ups to be accented. It has a kind of funky feel when you bring out those ups, and that might be the most challenging part of this. But it just will sound accented if you strum those ups on those high strings. Um, they're just going to sound louder than the downstrokes if the downstrokes are just focused on the low strings. So next, we have the accent on beat 4, which gives this strumming pattern its name, the easy listening groove. An accent on 2 and 4. So that'll just be strumming all the strings again. So we have soft, soft, hard, soft, hard, soft, hard, soft, hard, you know. And then what I do for this last down up there is just hit them kind of soft in the middle, kind of I guess the D, G, and B strings. They're just kind of taking up space there. So kind of this sound, not your hardest strum, and also kind of just both in the middle. Boom, boom, ba, do, ba, do, ba, do, ba, do, go. All right, so that is one of the most common strumming patterns that you'll find out there. It's probably a competition between this and like the country boom chick. As being the most common strumming patterns that you can find. All right, so I guess I'll end it there. That'll be all for this lecture. Thank y'all. How's it going, y'all? Thank you for clicking on this video about strumming. I hope that it was helpful. Just wanted to let you know that I do have a new online course on this topic called Strumming is Drumming. Learn 51 easy guitar strum patterns. It's a technique course. It's got a lot about strumming technique, like getting a really relaxed form and kind of building speed and stuff like that. Um, oh, and also building not just that, but like the finesse section gets you kind of more musical, like adding a kind of color to your strumming, like some strums louder and softer than others, or with different tones, like when you strum on lower strings or high strings. It's a technique course, but it's also just a strum pattern encyclopedia course. Basically, I listen to 500 songs and put them into rhythm categories. So if online courses is your thing, here's a good one on strumming. You'll learn more than you ever thought you could, probably.